welcome back. I'm Jessi Moon. I'm an eclectic witch, an intuitive, and a mystic healer. And I know I have been less than consistent lately, and that's kind of going to lead in a bit to today's topic. But as some of you know, I do struggle with a chronic illness and an autoimmune disease, and I'm sick a lot. And it's been kind of defeating, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about giving up, and I think I even started to give up for a second on this whole thing because it felt just like really impossible. And I realized that because of these things, I might have to work a little harder, or it might be a little more difficult in some ways for me. But I don't want to limit myself to believing that it's impossible. The fact that I just reached my first 100 subscribers, 101 to be exact, that's so cool. Like, to me, to think that there are 101 real life human beings out there that are watching my videos and supporting my dream and hearing what I have to say. And I just think that is really humbling and really cool, and I can't wait to see where this goes. And I just don't want to give up on myself, because I've always given up on every single new thing I've ever tried, or I've never really allowed myself to have a dream. And that's something that kind of comes with being a recovering drug addict. Is one of the things that I'm learning is, like, for the first time in my life, I'm finally having to confront this, that I hadn't really made a plan for what my life would look like now at almost 27 years old, because I didn't plan to be here. This was not in my plans. And now I am having this, like, beautiful gift, don't get me wrong, but it's also a bit scary at times. I feel like everyone else, is so settled, and I know that's just an illusion, and that's just more self-limiting dialogue, and we all have that. And I'm trying to let go of that, because just because I have a past doesn't mean that I'm not entitled to having a future. And I have to stop getting in this whole thought process of, like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or oh, I should be so much further, or if I hadn't wasted so much of my life doing drugs or this or that, that I would be so much further in my craft and where I want to be in my dreams. And I have to stop. That's dangerous thinking, because we are exactly where we are intended to be right now. This is exactly where we are intended to be, where I'm intended to be. And I do believe that I chose to be here at this time, in this body, in this experience with the people that I have chose to be here with. I believe that with my whole heart. And I'm trying just to learn to be right here, like, to be here now and be okay with that. And that's a hard thing to do, being present in the moment, especially in this day and age. And today I kind of have a topic that I'm just gonna talk to you guys from the heart, because in a lot of my videos, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm proud of everything that I've done so far, and I know that I have room, and I'm always gonna see room to improve and things like that. But I'm really experiencing, since my first video, which I was really proud of that one, but since that one, I feel like I'm experiencing this disconnect. And I feel like as I'm watching the videos and I'm editing, sometimes, like, I feel like I'm trying too hard to fit into a role still, and that's the exact opposite of what I was trying to do here. So I'm just gonna try and really work hard on being more authentically me, just getting comfortable in my own skin, and trying to not put so much pressure on myself to be perfect or to be, you know, whatever my idea is of what a YouTuber is supposed to do or supposed to look like or supposed to behave like. I'm trying to let go of all that, and I'm just trying to create my own space. That was the whole point of this. So that being said, today I really just wanted to talk to you guys about self-love. February is right around the corner, the season of love, and I just want to touch on this because not just self-love, love in general, but especially self-love, because it's such a hard thing to do in the society that we live in now, with apps like Facetune and Instagram and all of these things, TikTok, and we're constantly being fed content and new beauty standards and new trends and this and that, and it can be a lot. And you might have this idea of who you want to be or what you want to look like, but it's nothing like what you're being fed. So you kind of push that down and you try and fit into this role. And in doing that, we really just limit ourselves and we really disconnect from our truest selves. And it is so hard. As women especially, there are a lot of really unrealistic beauty standards and we're really hard on ourselves. And here lately, I know it sounds cliche, but I have really been trying to worry a lot less about this and worry more about what's going on the inside, because this is all fleeting. And I know, like I said, I know that sounds cliche, but I was having this talk with my daughter earlier. I was explaining to her why it's important to not be materialistic. Really just trying to express to her that these material, worldly things around us are ever fleeting. They're ever changing. But who we are as a soul and who we are at our core isn't so much fleeting and changing. It may seem that way because we evolve and we change, but our core, I believe that's something that is with us all along. My journey to self-love is an everyday battle. It is so hard for me. I have a really hard time forgiving myself a lot of the time for, things that I did in my addiction. I have a hard time accepting my body. I have body dysmorphia. Being sick has made that really hard. And I do struggle with mental health and anxiety and depression, and I'm a trauma survivor. And I'm trying to figure out a way to navigate through all of these things and still find a way to love myself. And it is very challenging because these parts of ourselves that we hate so much, that we work so hard to push down or to change, these things have been with us since childhood, a lot of them, and we're constantly adding to the list, don't get me wrong, but a lot of these things have been with us for a really long time. For instance, for me, I had a terrible time accepting my emotions. I had a terrible time feeling like feelings. That was part of my reason. One of the things that I loved about doing drugs was that it made it easier for me to suppress and control my emotions. As a child, I was teased a lot within my family for being emotional and being sensitive and wearing my heart on my sleeve and being a crybaby. And I hated that I come to hate that about myself. It truly disgusted me how I could cry so easily. I'm on the verge of tears right now, and I'm reminding myself not to get mad and not to shut down because of it. It is one of those things that became a part of my shadow, and that is a battle for me every single day to love and to accept myself and my emotions. And it's because that's one of the biggest parts of who I am, is my emotions. I'm a Cancer. I am an emotional being. I do wear my heart on my sleeve. I probably cry every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and I used to hate that about myself, but I'm learning to love it about myself because I'm starting to understand it. Like, I'm starting to understand, as I do the shadow work, I'm starting to understand where that hatred for those things came from. It didn't come from me. It didn't start within me. I was taught not to like those things about myself. So a lot of self-love work is deep inner child work. A lot of self-love work is shadow work. You are a beautiful being worthy of love. We are all worthy of love. And not only are we worthy of love, I got this message as I was getting ready for this video. A lot of times we go to outside help for love. We seek it out in people, in things, in experiences. But we forget that we are source when it comes to love. If we allow ourselves the opportunity to, we are capable of showing ourselves that same kind of love that we seek out in everything else. It's not an easy one to get, but it's a hard thing to do. And sometimes it's fleeting. And for me, at least, my self-love is fleeting. There are days that I will feel great about myself. I'll feel on top of the world about the goals that I'm achieving personally, the things that I'm accomplishing within my own life, and how hard I have worked to get them. And then other days, I will be so down on myself. I will discredit everything I've done, everything that I'm going to try to do. I will completely just destroy myself. So it is hard. And I think the biggest thing that we can do to kind of avert that from happening is to try to stay grounded in our self-love by doing small things every single day to kind of stay. It's just like a relationship with anyone else, with your friends, with your partner. You put energy into those relationships, you put effort into them, and if you stop putting effort into those relationships, they dwindle, they suffer, and you notice that. So why don't we treat ourselves the same? Why don't we put that same effort that we put into our loved ones into ourselves? And I think a lot of it has to do with our shadow that we're carrying around with us, and all these things that we've come to hate about ourselves, that we have convinced ourselves that we aren't even worthy of our own love. And that's a terrible thing. So I want to provide you with a few things that you guys can hopefully do to incorporate in your own lives that will hopefully help you connect with yourself and to grow that relationship. And if you're unable to love yourself right now, at least to start, watering that, or to plant the seed even. But once you do, to nurture it, just like any other relationship that is important to you. Treat it like you're a lover that you don't want to lose. But this one is going to be a spell that requires very little preparation. All that you're going to need is a pen, a piece of paper, and a fire-safe dish of some sort. If you don't have a cauldron, maybe just a fire-safe bowl or something that you can put your paper in, because we are going to be lighting the paper on fire. This one is a spell for releasing limitations. If you see me look down, you're seeing my notes, so sorry. If you can't work it on a full moon, then I would suggest working it on a Sunday. Sundays are great for spiritual success spells, stuff for healing, protection, strength, things of that nature. So that kind of covers everything that we're trying to do here when we're releasing these limitations that we're holding on to. The first thing that I want you guys to do is to imagine a white light. And I know if you've done any kind of meditation, you've probably, and I'm already closing my eyes. If you've ever done any kind of meditation, I'm sure you've heard them talk about the white light. If you do not know how to cast a circle, this is a way of casting a protection around yourself. So what you can do is imagine a divine white light. You can imagine it like a cone opening from the crown of your head and it kind of just pouring down and enveloping your body in this white light. Once you have taken a second to do that and to meditate and you feel grounded and at peace, I want you to light your candle. And as you sit there quietly with yourself, I want you to think about some of the limitations that have been placed on you. They may have been placed on you by others or yourself, but I want you to think about them and how they've affected you in your life and how they have held you back, how they have caused you hurt. And I want you to take a second and just think about them. Once you have kind of taken a second to do this, grab your paper and your pencil. You can write down whatever it is, like your biggest limitation that you feel you have put against yourself. You can list one, you could do more than one, you could write it in a sentence, you can just write it like a grocery list. Whatever it feels right, whatever your intuition calls you to, write down your limitations, the ones that you're ready and willing to release. You realize these do not serve you anymore. You've been carrying them around too long. They've done more harm than good, and you're ready to let them go. Once you've got your list, you're going to roll it away from you. So we're going to roll it away from us, and as you do, just keep thinking about those limitations, how they've held your life back, how they've hurt you. Obviously, I don't need this entire piece of paper. Yours probably, I don't know what yours will look like. I guess I shouldn't be presumptuous, but however long it is, you just roll it away from you. When you're done, make sure you have your fire-safe dish close by. You're going to light your paper. And you're going to toss it in the dish. And just let it burn out all the way. If you have to relight it, that's fine. Sometimes you will. While it burns, I want you to say to these limitations as it burns, as you watch the fire. Say, today I say goodbye to all these things that have prevented me from becoming the person that I want to become. I push these things far away from me and far away from my life, as these things do not serve me anymore and they no longer hold an influence over me. You no longer have the power to limit me. You are now a part of my past, and my past is gone. Once you've said this, you're then going to say, I banish you, or I banish thee. You can say, I banish you, whatever your limitation is, or you can just say, I banish thee. Say this 3 times. Once you're done with this, collect your ashes. And now you can do one of 2 things. You can either release the ashes somewhere away from your home, somewhere that isn't close to you because you were trying to send it out, or the next morning you gather your ashes and you can bury them still away from your home. And you can bury them in a sense to lay these things to rest, because they no longer serve you and they're no longer with you. You're laying them to rest. We as human beings are very visual. I feel when it comes to these things, it's so powerful, the visualization. When we do these rituals, especially releasing rituals, it gives us a sense of taking that power back, and we are visually seeing ourselves release these things that have been burdening us. It doesn't matter what aspect you want to look at it, whether you want to take from it just the visual and the symbolic parts of the craft, or if you truly believe in the magic behind it, like myself. Either way, I feel like it can be beneficial to you in your healing process. When something feels strange, it's just because we've never done it before. And I promise you, when you put that same amount of energy and love into yourself, you will notice a difference, and it will be worth all the silly little feelings you got along the way. So just keep an open mind. I know that in order to grow, sometimes we have to get willing to be uncomfortable for a while, and I think that that's just part of the process. Alright guys, and then the very last thing that I wanted to do with this video was leave you guys with some shadow work prompts. And if you are unfamiliar with shadow work, I urge you to look up Carl Jung. There's a lot of great information about the shadow out there and his theory on the shadow. But essentially, your shadow is everything that you've ever suppressed about yourself, everything that you've been taught not to like about yourself, everything that you've kind of pushed down inside. It could be your darker aspects, or it could just be things that you just don't like about yourself for whatever reason. Like I told you my example with my emotions earlier. Whatever it may be, we all have a shadow, and shadow work is when we start to address the shadow. We start to try to understand it and break it down. And depending, on your shadow could be huge with many different things, or it could be just one or two really, really big pressing things for you. Whatever that looks like for you, shadow work is a thing that is involved with a lot of deep inner child work. It's a lot of journaling, a lot of prompts. It's a lot of meditating and just really sitting with yourself and sitting with your trauma too a lot of times, and whatever that may be. But it's not always pretty, it's not always easy. But like I just said, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable for a bit if you really want to be able to enlighten yourself and to move forward and to progress. And that's what this life is all about, in my opinion, is to grow and to experience and to learn. Just keep in mind that this could be deeply challenging, but I promise you the results will make it worth it. Work it at your own pace. Don't give up on the work just because it gets hard, guys. I promise you, this has been huge for me. That's why I am so passionate about this, is because I've seen its effects on my life, and I want to be able to share that with other people. With self-love, I feel a lot of us experience a hard time loving ourselves because we feel unworthy, and a lot of that unworthiness comes from some sort of rejection. And usually I feel it is a rejection stemming from early on in life. So the prompts that I wanted to leave you with today, don't hate me, I'm working these prompts myself. The prompts that I came up with for today was, when was the first time that you remember experiencing rejection? Just sit with it and really get honest with yourself. When was the first time that I really remember experiencing rejection? Once you've taken the second to journal about that, or if you want to take a few days going with that, how have you carried that experience with you throughout your life and your other relationships and moving forward? And how has it affected your relationship with yourself? How has it made you reject yourself? So that one is kind of like a multi-layered, multifaceted question. So again, if you missed that, how have you carried this with you in your life and in your relationships today? And how did this affect your relationship with yourself? How did this rejection make you feel? Did it make you reject yourself in any ways? How did it affect your relationship with self? So I know those are some really difficult prompts there to get started with, but I hope that they bring you some answers. And as you start to dig, you might find more prompts for yourself. There's also a lot of great prompts online, and I'm going to continue to keep doing some shadow work prompts, and may even do a whole video on shadow work itself. But for this week, that is all for now. I just really wanted to leave you guys with this. So that's all I had planned for today's video. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. I did plan, I am gonna try to stick to starting to film every Saturday. Like I said, it's really hard being sick, and I do have a lot of depression that comes with that, and sometimes it's hard, But I'm gonna try and hold myself accountable, and this channel is so important to me. Like I said, for the first time in my entire life, I finally have a dream, and it may seem like really silly and really stupid to some people, but I really care about what I'm trying to do here, and it's given my life a drive and a purpose. It's given me something to look forward to and something to work on, and it's just really been amazing for me. So I don't want to give up on it. I know it may be a little harder, but I'm not giving up yet. I'm gonna keep trying. So thank you guys so much for showing your support to me. Like I said, it means the world, and I can't wait to see you next time. All right, bless.